Hi guys, I am back with a video. This is Claire, and we're coming at you with a super late, that's what my title is late reaction to the whole Victoria's Secret fashion show thing where they made all these announcements that we're gonna kind of touch on and kind of what they were seeing for their fashion show versus like what they actually do for their fashion show and just how people have reacted to it since then too. We thought that it would be good for us to film it because in their statements, the CEO of the company, he kind of attacked plus size people and trans people, and we're coming at you with opinions from a plus size person and a trans person. So we're just gonna kind of get started. I wrote down in my phone just kind of things that I've been thinking about during this whole thing and like seeing it on Twitter and reacting to what other people have been saying. And then you have on your phone pulled up like their actual statements so we don't get our facts wrong. So I kind of just want to start with a blanket feeling that I have personally, and I feel like it's more coming from the plus side of things and not from the trans side. I don't completely disagree with what they said. Some of the things that they said, I understand kind of where they're coming from. But I just feel like it could have been said better or just not said at all. If they had just kept going with the way they've been going, which isn't catering to plus size people and isn't truly catering to trans people, but they haven't really spoken it out loud or said anything about it, it wouldn't be this big of a deal. But because they spoke it into words and it's written down, it is a big deal. So overall, that's kind of just my opinion. There are little things here or there where I do completely disagree. And I do find flaws in their argument and things like that. But like in a general picture, I feel like I'm not super mad at what was said. Like if there is something super cute that I want to buy from Victoria's Secret or Pink, like I'm probably still gonna buy it. And I'm not the type of person that would expect my friend like Haley or something to not still shop there. So that's kind of my general blanket. I don't know how you feel about that coming from the opposite side.
Right, so my reaction is a little bit different because I think it's true that examining it from the perspective of a plus size person and a transgender person is different. Because they make mention of the fact that they do cater to plus size people through Lane Bryant, which is also in the same company as Victoria's Secret. But the thing about coming for transgender people in that same statement is that that's a different thing.
They're completely different things. You're right.
One's a market of different, people, because you're selling merchandise, you're selling clothing, so it's not like a makeup store where there's no difference between, let's say, plus size people.
Yeah.
It's different when you're talking about body types. And so essentially saying that lumping, number one, plus size people and trans people together is problematic in and of itself. But on top of that, you could make an argument that, okay, plus size people are being catered to and they do require sort of larger clothing sizes and it's sort of a different like operation, and we're doing that in this area. But for trans people, that's not the case. Trans people don't require bigger sizes necessarily. That's just I think discrimination.
And there's no already representation.
Right.
Like the guy was talking about how well we did. In the thing it says Lane Bryant was our sister store, so I think it started out, but it no longer is. That's at least what I grasped. I probably should have looked that up before this, but my point is there is or was representation for plus size people, but there never was representation for trans people. Not that there necessarily needs to be, because like you're not going to have a section in the store, this is for trans people.
No, exactly.
But like when there's not even any acknowledgement of it and then you're going to shit on it on top of that, it's just kind of a really bad situation and a bad look for your company.
And I think you should definitely make the point you were going to make about what this company actually is. Like, they're not...
So we were talking about kind of what we were going to talk about in this video, and I said, okay, I get it. They want their fashion show to be a high fashion show. the way they present things with the wings and the way that the lingerie that they show in the fashion show is not the lingerie you're going to buy at the store. So they portray it to be high fashion, and there truly are no plus size models or really trans models. There's like androgynous models, but there's really no trans or plus size models in high fashion, and nobody said anything about it really. So the difference is they're trying to be high fashion, but then you walk into a Victoria's Secret and what do they sell? Sweatpants. So it's almost like they're trying to be one thing and like create this image. Well, we have this expectation and we are meant to put on a fantasy and this is what we're trying to do. Okay, high fashion, whatever. But then you go into the actual store and that's not what's represented. So why are you trying to put on this huge show, literally a show, a facade, when you walk into the store and it's just like mediocre like underwear with snowmen on them,
like nylon, like,
and like gross sort exactly of. And it's just so weird to me, and I just feel like it's coming from just like the two ideals just don't mash up. I did want to kind of talk about the sister store thing really quickly. We already mentioned the whole Lane Bryant sister store thing, but I know and I don't know if you know this, that Victoria's Secret owns Bath and Body Works.
Really?
They're the same company. So like when you buy like a shower gel or a lotion from Victoria's Secret, it's literally the same thing as Bath and Body Works. So in my mind, I feel like maybe not a lot of people know that, but I know that, and it almost discourages me from wanting to shop at Bath and Body Works too. And like you don't shop at Bath and Body Works, so that's not an issue for you, but think about how many people really shop at Bath and Body Works, like so many people. And so I feel like if someone's uneducated about that, they'll be like, okay, well, I'm boycotting Victoria's Secret, but then they go spend $150 at Bath & Body Works, and it's still supporting the same brand. And now you have a brand that is kind of coming at plus-size people and trans people, and then they're catering in a different way, in body care way, and they're still making their money on you, whether or not you're plus-size or trans.
And I just want to make the point, the guy who made the comments specifically about plus size and transgender people, because there's a couple people in the interview, the guy who made the comments he's part of the overarching brand that owns Victoria's Secret. He's not just a random rep for Victoria's Secret. He literally is like some big shot senior creative officer, it sounds like, at Victoria's Secret, and chief marketing officer of creative services of limited brands. So that's the parent company of Victoria's Secret, which I'm only assuming is the company that...
So that's where Lane Bryant, Bath and Body Works, like that's where all those stores come in.
So so Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works. So it's really, really bad, number one, just to make those comments if you're a person for Victoria's Secret. But are you saying that trans people and plus size people are also excluded from Bath and Body Works products? Like you're representing the other brand when you say that. You're representing
like a Johnson & Johnson person making a comment about like one tiny little brand that they represent, but obviously that person just doesn't represent that tiny aspect. They represent the entire brand, which is a multi-million or billion, I have no idea, dollar brand. And so in my opinion, whoever this guy is, there's clearly other people that are on the same playing field as him or even higher ups than him. Like, I would be, if I was his boss or even his coworker, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, you did not represent this company the way we want you to, whether or not this is their true values, because this could really be the true values of the whole company, but there's no way that you'd want to be represented in that way.
Yeah, and for the record, their stock is plummeting. Like for L Brands, it's Limited Brands. That's the name of the parent company. Their stock isn't performing well. But also I want to mention the fact that I really do think this guy who said those comments, I think the company culture is problematic, but I think especially this guy sort of was kind of going on his own when he said those kind of things, because he used the term transsexual, which is sort of outdated, and I think that just shows his own personal bias.
Well, yeah, like the PR, like was not, like there's no way he passed this by like whoever's in charge of PR, and
I think he was just speaking off the cuff. Yeah. Like I think he just,
and he probably didn't even understand that what he was saying was going to be published in the way that it was, and everyone would see it the way that they did. He probably just thought it was some little interview, which turned into something a little bit more crazy.
And I just want to sort of touch on another comment that he made in which he said that Victoria's Secret shows are supposed to be a fantasy. Now,
this is the biggest thing. This is
I
the
think
thing I've
this
seen
is
people
the
talk about
most
so much.
problematic thing. If you are going to make the claim that Victoria's Secret fashion shows are a fantasy, regardless of what, regardless of what you sell in the store, regardless of anything, regardless of your shitty labor practices where you're producing these this clothing in like sweatshops, you know, putting all that aside, saying that you're trying to create a fantasy, and then in the same breath saying so that by nature excludes plus size people and transgender people.
That's his own personal opinion.
That's his own personal opinion, but he's a representative for L Brands, and this is a published interview. It's on the record. He knew that. That is making the claim that transgender people cannot be part of the fantasy that you are propagating. And I think that just speaks to the fact that our culture is very much centered around sort of, when you think of advertising, it's all about what are men sort of attracted to, like airbrushed,
it's all about
very
sex
fit.
and,
It's all about sex. So it's catering to these beauty standards that we already hold, and that's tied up with Eurocentrism, you know, like people of color being shamed for their characteristics because they don't conform to our beauty standards, you know, plus size people, transgender people being shamed. And especially for me, what got to me was that like a transgender model could walk down that runway and you wouldn't know.
Nobody would know.
Like I could walk down that runway. I'm tall and I'm skinny and I fit in with that body type. No one would know. So just saying that by nature of being transgender, that
just
is the variable. Not he could like even. I think it would have been even more. I don't want to say acceptable, but more understandable if he had said people with broad shoulders and bulges from their genitalia. That's not something we're trying to promote. Okay, like that's still, you know, iffy, but just saying transgender people, you literally, if Gigi Gorgeous, like, does she really look transgender? No, she just looks like a cisgender woman, and saying that the transgender aspect of her personhood is the part that they don't want their brand to be representing, not anything else inherent to being transgender. So it's really just making this claim that being plus size and being transgender, by nature of those things, automatically excludes a person from being part of their fantasy, whatever that means.
Being wanted, being
desirable,
all those things. And we did say, like, you fit, like, your body type fits the body type of all those runway models, but you still would be excluded from participating, which is just, I mean, it's fat phobic to begin with, but it makes it then transphobic on top of it, because say you were to like try to apply, or you were a model and you tried to like be in the show, like everything about you would be the look or be perfect, except for the fact that you are transgender.
Any casting intern or whoever's like doing the casting, let's say, for this, could look at these comments and say, well, I don't want to get in trouble with my higher ups for hiring a transgender person on. So it's really indicative of the culture of Victoria's Secret and just pop culture, sort of media advertising culture in general, that these narratives or these people are the ones that they're making the claim like can't be part of this situation.
But also, like, I don't know how old this guy is. When you Googled him, how old is he? Because I feel like the CEOs or the PR reps or whoever the people are right now,
70.
Okay, the people that are still in charge are the people that hold old values. So I feel like when people our age are then the CEOs and then are in charge of companies and things like that, the values are going to change. So it's like mainstream values have changed, but the money and the people who are in charge, those values have not changed yet. So I feel like it's coming. It's just not there yet.
I really think in the coming years, the brands that, like Beyonce's brand that Ivy Park, I think, her athleisure brand that has like Laverne Cox as the main model, I think we're going to see brands like those, or the whole interview is sort of in in response to Rihanna's
Fenty. Yeah.
Brand. Those brands are going to outperform. No one wants to buy shitty-ass Victoria's Secret if they don't have to and they have a cheaper alternative. It's just because it's cheap. Right. And I think another...
Fenty is comparable in price. You can buy seven pairs of underwear for $35.
Yeah.
And Fenty, similarly, as you would in that.
And whose
Fenty,
fucking stock is plummeting right now?
Fenty has more, like, originality to it. Like, the styles don't say Fenty all over them like a Victoria's Secret thing would, but they're more just like, they're more now. The styles are just more what people are looking for. And then you're talking about the stock market thing. I mean, let's talk quickly about just the money aspect of this. I feel like we don't even have to because it's very self-explanatory, but they say in the interview that they could literally put their brand name on anything, like literally a glass of water, and it would sell because of the brand name, because of the brand that they've built for themselves. And they kept trying to like pat themselves on the back for the brand that they built for themselves. Good, like good for you. You created a brand. But like part of keeping that brand relevant is making it ever changing and dynamic and
absorbing new companies and new advertising campaigns with different models, you know.
So obviously, if you want to try to keep your brand dynamic and profitable, you're going to try to appeal to as many people as possible. So not catering to those people is one thing, because you're still going to have people buying, but then coming out with that statement and creating a bad rep for yourself is even worse. So basically, if they wanted to keep their money and keep their brand and all this stuff, like, just make sizes all, like, even if they added one size, because I've bought things from Pink before in a size extra large, or in a size large, because they only go up to a large, and they fit me. They only go up to a large, and they fit me. So even if they went up to an extra large, which is one size more, do you even know how many more people could fit into their stuff and therefore would buy their stuff and make more money? I mean, hello, let's look at American Eagle and Aerie. American Eagle used to be a brand just like Hollister or Victoria's Secret, where they were very kind of like localized, and they didn't want to expand, and they only catered to like a certain amount of people.
Like how Brandy Melville is now, where it's like they have one size fits all.
And then American Eagle and Aerie kind of caught on, and now they're dynamic and they're ever changing, and
people want to buy them.
They've expanded their sizes, and they've even expanded who they cater to, because now they have all those like disabled people on their website and stuff.
They don't airbrush their photos.
Right, and the thing is, that doesn't require you changing the sizes of your company, but it allows you to tell people, like, it's okay, we accept you, this is what we want you to wear our clothing, and then people buy it. Same thing with transgender people. You don't have to change the sizes of your clothing to have a transgender person buy your clothing, but if you represent them,
it's like,
or at least let them know that it's okay, you know, like, and it's a whole thing, and it's a whole thing. But basically, they could make more money if they just weren't assholes about it.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
It's that simple.
Really, no, and I want just like a few sort of summing up comments.
I don't think I have anything else like specific to say.
I just want to make mention of the fact that Victoria's Secret in the spectrum of lingerie and the spectrum of undergarments is the cheapest of the cheap. I mean, aside from Fruit of the Loom from fucking Walmart, like, it's the cheapest of the cheap. And who do you think are the people who, because of societal sort of the walls that are put up, the glass ceilings, who do you think are the people that tend to have less money? It's the people who are excluded from employment because of being transgender or for being plus size. They're the people who would largely be the ones shopping at these lower end brands. I don't want to generalize, but like, compared to sort of a more sort of a skinny like cisgender person, just in terms of societal discrimination. So you're already shutting off your market of people, your whoever, from a key demographic. And another just comment I want to make, if these comments had been about race,
it would be a bigger issue.
World War III, like, as it should have been. It should have been World War III, you know, for
different
us,
reasons,
you know. So I think that's really, again, that's just indicative of the fact that our society doesn't treat those doesn't treat plus size people and transgender people with that same level of sensitivity, despite the fact that mine being transgender, her being plus size is about as controllable as race. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just the discrimination that keeps happening. It's the same story being told a million different ways. And
I forgot one thing that I had written down on my phone. so we're talking about the whole diversity thing. In that interview, they tried to kind of make up for themselves, and they kept mentioning that they have age diversity in their fashion show,
yeah.
and that the one model that they keep having back year after year, she's 37, and
Adriana
they're like,
Lima,
yeah, they're like, usually like this model would have, her career would have ended at like 27 or something, but like we keep giving her more job opportunities because we're so diverse with age diversity. That's fine. I mean, it's just like, it's a minuscule thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change what you've said. Like, it doesn't make it any
You're
better.
just picking and choosing which forms of identity you're going to associate your brand with. And it's like, why choose it all when you could, it would be so much more beneficial, more tolerant, like big business in general. And this is a trend we've been seeing. Why, you know, at Pride parades, why do you think you see those, like, you see Apple, you see like big banks, you see, you know, huge companies. It's because
sponsorships.
They know that being tolerant is good for business. That's like
thing.
Modern capitalism.
Whether or not they truly agree, whether or not the whole company or the CEO of the company truly has the same values, they at least know what's good for business, and that's good enough for me. Honestly, that's good enough.
That's
for
how we
me.
make progress. Yeah. And it's about as simple as that. It's just the same. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. It's the same story being told a million different ways. Different forms of discrimination that just keep reoccurring, and it's unnecessary, and there's change, and we're on, you know, the right side of history. The money is going to be on the right side of history, and it's just one of those things where it's like when discrimination does like bear its face, and you just see it, and it's like, why? There's just no reason.
Yeah,
there's just no reason.
I'm kind of glad that we did like a later reaction to this, because I feel like we kind of can look at it instead of having that like immediate reaction
like
of anger. Yeah, because I've watched a couple videos, not a ton, like maybe 2 or 3. And of course I've seen like the million things on Twitter, but I've watched like maybe 2 or 3 videos, and it's mostly out of like anger and sadness that people make videos. So I feel like it happened like about a month ago. So I feel like it happened a while back, so that we can kind of like sit back and kind of think about it. And it's also good because from our standpoint, like neither one of us was truly butthurt about it, so we also don't have like that huge bias.
Because I don't
in our opinions.
Like, I don't.
Neither do I. For the most part, I maybe own like 3 shirts from Pink. Yeah, I've never actually bought anything from Victoria's Secret, like the actual store. Like I've bought a couple things from Pink here or there.
Well, just a closing thought. I did not get any Victoria's Secret for Christmas. I do not plan on going into one of their stores. I wouldn't even, I mean, now that I heard that, I personally wouldn't shop at Bath & Body Works. That's easy for me to say.
You don't do that.
I wouldn't have done that before, but...
Yeah. It's almost like an afterthought. I'm still going to shop at Bath & Body Works, but it's almost like an afterthought. I'm kind of like, well, this sucks.
Well, I mean,
now,
and
you know?
doing
like,
that, you're showing the bitches, like, up in corporate, whatever, that you're part of their demographic, okay?
Yeah.
So...
Right, they don't discriminate when it comes to their freaking shower gels, so why are you discriminating when it comes to your underwear?
Right.
Like, what?
No. Yeah, your money is your speech. Just be conscious of, like, who you're buying from, and stay woke for when discrimination... You know, keep your antennas up. That's all I gotta say. Keep your antennas up for discrimination.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. I think we hit on everything that I had written down. I wrote high fashion for sweatpants ?
So that has to be the title of the video, I swear to
God. So we're done.
Yeah.
I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Let us know if you have any other, like, kind of, like, hot button or, like, hot topic videos,
like trendy,
or,
whatever.
controversy type things you want us to talk about. Because I think, like, we have these discussions for fun.
Yeah, for fun.
Like, just all the time. So I feel like it's, like, a kind of
Might
cool,
as well get the views.
Yeah, kind of a cool dynamic to just, like, you know, be able to share our opinion, and at least someone listens to it, so.
Bye.
Bye!